Greetings, listeners. Welcome to Consulting Between Friends. I am your host, Michael Holmes Jr. Christmas is a time to enjoy with family and friends. The time to show our love for the people in our life. From exchanging gifts or creating new memories. Some people enjoy decorating their homes for the holidays, as well different commercial properties. This is a way to get in the Christmas spirit. There are multiple ways to consider when you are planning to decorate your home or commercial property. By gathering different ideas and working with a professional who can create the experience you have in mind. From finding out what decoration style works for you, such as modern, traditional, or contemporary. In this episode, we will be discussing different ways you can decorate commercial and residential properties. From start to finish, I will be interviewing Alex Holmes, CEO and Creative Director of Flower Boy A Production. He will give us a look at what it's like to get your decorations done by a professional. Also, Alex will give us an overview of how to decorate for the Christmas season. The topic is a Christmas special. Let's talk about decorating. We will return after a message from our sponsor. Everyone is always planning things, and advertising is needed to make it happen. So, if it's personal or business, let Pinpoint Designs and Images solve that problem. With Pinpoint Designs and Images LLC, you will receive quality work and professional service at a great price. The service that is offered: flyers, business cards, programs, invitations, photo books, ad booklets, and much more. Michael Holmes Jr., owner/principal designer of Pinpoint Designs and Images LLC, contact me by email or social media. Email address is pinpointdesignsandImages@gmail.com, and Instagram Pinpoint Designs, and Facebook Pinpoint Designs and Images. We are back. Before the interview begins, I want to give you a little background on Alex Holmes. Alex and I are cousins, and he is always encouraging me to achieve any of my goals. He is a trained and licensed floral freelancer that is a visionary and a perfectionist at his craft. As stated before, Alex is the CEO and creative director of Flower Boy A Production. Alex was born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana, and currently resides in Atlanta, Georgia. Alex has clients all over the United States. The services Flower Boy A Production offers are wedding design production, event decor, party designs, and decorations. Alex and his team, Flower Boy A Production, will go the extra mile to create an experience for you to remember for a lifetime. My guest is Alex Holmes, Now, welcome him to Consulting Between Friends podcast.
Hi, Michael, and thanks for having me once more again. I'm proud to be here today.
Thank you. That's nice to hear. How are you doing today?
My day is going really well. It's ending now. I had a long, busy day today. I first started off going to church today. Then I had two home installs today, which went phenomenal. I really enjoyed it.
Well, that's nice to hear. I'm glad you had a productive day and you accomplished what you were trying to do today.
That's important.
Now, what do you do and who do you serve?
What do I
Oh,
do and who do I serve? Well, I provide Christmas interiors, exteriors, home decorating, including private homes, condominiums, apartments, residents, fine hotels, hospitals, corporate offices, public spaces, indoor and outdoor, lighting, ornaments, fresh florals, live or artificial trees, garland, custom wreaths, swags, custom items and specialties. You name it, I try to create it.
that's really interesting. And that's a lot that we're going to go over in this episode dealing with Christmas. And I cannot wait to get into it because it's the Christmas season and everybody enjoy Christmas and being around family and friends. And how you just explained that, I know this is going to be really interesting as well.
Yes, it will be. And it's such a wonderful thing to do. Okay, let me get into it. So a little about me. I'm Flowerboy underscore A. My company is Flowerboy A LLC Production. What we do here for Christmas holidays, we provide our clients with design consultation, complete installation, proactive maintenance, timely takedowns at the end of the season so you won't have too many things to worry about. We'll come there and disassemble everything, pack it up, and put it back in tip top shape for you for the next calendar year.
Hmm. Oh, that's interesting. And since you did say that, is what are some things that you end up doing that clients enjoy from the beginning?
Well, taking a concept and creating something uniquely theirs. Um, Whether it's actually a venue, a meeting space, special events, something in the hospitality industry, technology, entertainment, rentals. We also rent elements, props that you can utilize throughout the holiday season. That's something you could use for your events, and you really would enjoy doing that, whether it's a party or a dinner party or just a corporate function. We try to figure out exactly the needs and how do we fulfill those needs on every account that, depending on what you have going on for the holiday season.
Oh, that sounds really interesting and also joyful at the same time. Well, we're about to start this interview.
I'm excited. Let's go. Let's make it happen.
What type of decorations do you like for Christmas? How do you come up with the arrangements?
Well, I like all types of decorations. Let's start there. How do I come up with the concept? It's all different. Let me give you a little taste of how we like to make this execution a flawless situation at hands on every account. So let's go with traditional and a mix of contemporary twist. Get ready for traditional holidays with colors of red, green, blue, and gold mixed together using wonderful ornaments to create a clean and contemporary look with a classic feel. Winter seasons, feel the winter cheer. Icy combinations of turquoise, silver, lime green, cobalt blue units to bring in a crisp, a cool texture, and also a feel of modern. with beautiful decorations and ornaments throughout the holiday seasons. Something with a little glam. Let's create something with diamonds. It's about metallics, nice finishes, modern theme. A stunning fusion of platinum, gold, silver, and gives a theme of luxurious contemporary feel. Let's go with some hues and shades of a matte, shiny, and jewel ornamentations to the tree. Come together with a touch of pop and a contrast of gold and silver leaves and a pop of color to customize that finishing look. That's something that blings. If you like a pop of contrast that have like the
Hmm.
sparkles to it. Let's go with Winter Lux. A reflection feel, a timeless appeal, the Winter Lux collection of something. When you're creating a collection of Winter Lux, you want to bring in some good ribbons. You want to tie in some good accents. You want to bring in some rustic, wintry, ornamental objects that kind of make it really, really, really stand out and give you that Lux pop and also the texture of the overall feel of Lux. Let's talk about some crimson. Let's bring in some red. Let's bring in some
Hmm.
mono. I like to do monochromatics where you have these deep colors together, kind of like monochromatically placed in there, like nice dark reds, nice burgundies, things like that surrounding and kind of give you the monochromatic feel. So when you're looking at the design, be like, oh wow, this definitely makes a rich, bold statement. Then pop it off with a little contrast of just gold and just deliver on that. Let's talk
Oh,
about traditional elegance. Burgundy, platinum. Use some poinsettias around the tree, surrounded with some gorgeous ornaments, with some things that have some beads to it to give like a touch of plush, velvet, ribbons to finish it off and give a rich tone and also a rich, fabulous look. Champagne
oh,
toast, a fusion of ivory, soft gold, platinum, along with beautiful crystallized ornaments. Imagine having a tree that's bedazzled with crystal ornaments just hanging like teardrops. And you look at that and be like, oh my God, look at that. And
hmm.
use some jewel tones to make it kind of fall into place and kind of like tie in very beautifully. It just makes such a bold statement. And I'm going to end it off with enchanted look. An enchanted garden. Imagine going into a garden and you have all these wonderful elements like pine cones, you got fresh berries, you got twigs, you got a little snow dust, you have branches, just a natural organic feel and texture that you create this look for a tree. Be like, oh wow, I love the way this looks, just natural, organic. So with that being said, you can take your creativity and let me create and transform something to you based upon your style, what you want your Christmas to feel like, how you want to feel when you walk into that actual space of um, your corporate headquarters, your residential space, your hotel lobby, a retail space, a small business, a mom and pop store, whatever. Just creating something and trying to create that feel. Let's turn that look into a winter wonderland. That's what we create. That's what we like to do. And we like to engage on elements like that when it comes down to Christmas to make your Christmas memorable on every account.
Well, I like how you just explained the different types of decorating for the holiday season. I have learned a lot by just hearing this, and I also know you have also educated my listeners who enjoy the Christmas spirit and just want to know how to decorate in a different type of way as well.
Well, it's funny you say that because you have commercial decorating, you also have residential decorating. It's two different components, two different concepts put together. But I'll tell you something. For a person when do it yourself at home, whatever. First of all, what I would like you to do is get a color palette. Figure out what's your color palette and your color story that you want to work with. Start there. That's your starting point. Once you establish that, focus on getting some nice materials and nice ornaments that you want to adore the tree with.
Mhm.
That's your second phase to work on. Third, figure out your finishing touch to make your tree pop. Me personally, I try to find a theme and try to tie it all in together beautifully. Start with your tree. Get a nice, wonderful tree skirt. Try if you have a fireplace, adore the fireplace with some wonderful ornamental pieces, a nice swag, a nice wreath you can hang by the fireplace. It all depends on what you're doing. But take that whole concept from when you started from the color palette and run it through the whole entire home, your domicile. Make it uniquely yours. Make some nice ribbons, make some nice bows to go there. You can't never go wrong with just a nice color story and trying just pushing things in there. And then pop with another little accent color, a little contrast. So if you got, just say for instance, you're doing white and blue, pop a little silver in there, a little contrast. Not much, but very, very little, minimal silver to make it really stand out and make a difference. And there you go. You can create your own tree based upon your color story, your color palette. Depends on you and what you buy. And as we come down, we're going to talk about budget for a second. Take the budget and stretch that budget. Maximize your budget by going to all different types of stores and trying to find things within your color palette and your color story, tie it all in together beautifully. You may not find every single piece at one particular store. That's okay. You may not find
Mm-hmm.
it that same day. That's okay. Just take your time and focus on that color story and basically that color palette and just tie it all in together. And when you finish that, you'll be like, you got something remarkably amazing for the holiday season.
Well, that is interesting. I like how you explain how you can decorate residentially. I also overheard you saying how to decorate on a professional level, in other words, in a business setting, correct?
That's correct.
So, do you mind explaining that as well?
Well, they'll be considered commercial. So commercial would be
Oh,
like
commercial.
a hotel. It could be like a restaurant. It could be a mall. It could be a number of things. Is this a business? So you do things differently because you want to use things that's going to be long lasting because you're going to have a lot of people walking in and touching and looking. So you have to do a different level of service the way you actually put everything together. You want everything to be long lasting, but you want everything to look remarkably amazing from the first day you install each individual piece. So commercial design is a little bit different from residential, but it's still the same concept. But you just got to factor in that the way you're designing a lot of people gonna be moving and touching. So you want things to kind of be stabilized and in place and make sure everything is nice and sturdy. So I like to try to keep it very, very classic with a whimsical luxury look for exteriors of commercial buildings and interiors. I like to bring in some different elements. Um, I like to go very, very traditional, but modern interiors to kind of really tie it in to give you such a classic holiday decor, traditional feel when you walk into that space.
Hmm, that is interesting. It's also eye opener as well, because on a commercial level, it like make things pop right before your eyes, correct?
That's the goal. That's the goal.
What techniques can you offer an individual who wants to create a wonderful Christmas experience?
Well, and again, I would reference back to the idea when I was talking earlier about, create a color palette, create a color story. And it depends on what you're doing. So let's go with just a traditional holiday. You're going to have guests come into your domicile, which is your home. Start off with your tree. You want to make a nice entrance of a foyer piece. They come in and you want to make some nice and noticeable by adding your color story there, your color palette. Pull out some wonderful scented candles. If you have an artificial tree, pull out some candles to create the smell and the illusion of wonderful Christmas coming in by using pine spruce candles or something of that nature to make the room smell really, really good, or something that adores Christmas like cinnamon, baked apple pie, something of that nature. Um, Put candles in your restroom, tie a little small little elements in the bathroom that represents Christmas, like Christmas towels, things of that nature, Christmas rugs, or the color palette that's in your color story. Then you get to that table and you deck that table out by pulling different elements, where it's a six top or eight top or a 12 seating table, pull out the nice flatware, pull out the place settings, adore with the wonderful all-purpose goblets, wine glasses, champagne flutes, pull out all the stocks to kind of tie it in. And then, bring in some elements of Christmas to that table and make a wow factor actually happen. Um, some people like to do outside, use some lighting, use some uplighting, wrap the trees, wrap branches, wrap them really nicely with some wonderful lighting to make you feel really the Christmas feel of you having a wonderful party, you have guests coming in, but you really impact them by making them feel like it's really Christmas in here. There's different types of Christmas styles. You got modern, you got contemporary, you got traditional, you got glam, you got chic, you got look. So you pick a style, what you like, and you run with that style. And you make that style come to life based upon your concept, your budget, your color palette, your story, and just create that and make it such a whimsical experience on every account. I highly recommend that.
Well, that is very interesting, and I like how you explain it as well. Well, since you did mention the different styles of decorating for Christmas, what are some of the styles you have done for some clients of yours?
It's funny. Everybody's when I do it, it's very, very unique.
Hmm.
It's different depending on if I'm in the New York market, Atlanta market, New Orleans market, DC. It depends on that individual. For the most part, I try to find out, take an example and take a tour of their home. Um, See if it's a modern home, a contemporary home, or traditional home, country French. Kind of get their concept and their style, and then I'll take it from there. But for the most part, I've done a little bit of everything. I've done, you know, um, contemporary. I've done modern. I've done Lux, lot of glam Lux, looks, a lot of sparkly things. But like a lot of people like a lot of sparkly elements, like a lot of crystals. So every situation is totally different when I'm coming up with the concept and the essence of how to create this grandeur of a wonderful home and create a wonderful decor experience for that family each calendar
Hmm.
year. I just it's something that I love to do. So I've got a chance to kind of move around and do a little bit of it all. If you ask me, I pretty did. I've been doing it for a long time, so for the most part, it's been pretty a little everything you could think about it. I've really touched it.
So, about how many years have you been doing this type of decorating?
Well, to be honest with you, cousin, I have been doing this for almost probably 15 years now.
Oh, that's really interesting. So, since you did say that, and you have different clients and you go to their houses and so on, do some people have an idea of what they want before you start? Or
I'm
sometimes you
glad
just
you
have to just go from there?
I'm glad you asked me that question. Every situation is totally different. Just say I first meet a client and they may say, I need you to come and decorate my Christmas tree for me. I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
that sounds good. Let's make that happen. Well, they may already have decoration they may have been using for a number of years. I
Hmm.
kind of go there and I'll, look at it and do an assessment of like, is this something that we can repurpose and reuse again, or should I just get all new material?
Hmm.
9 times out of 10, they want to pretty much work what they already have. Once they find out the skill set, what I can do and how I can really execute things and make it look beyond the imagination, they tend to give me a budget to go and look around and try to pick out new elements for them or just basically overall just change their tree consistently, just change their tree. The clients I had tonight, I've been doing their trees for the last few years since I've been in Atlanta, and they've been pretty much doing the same traditional things that they already had. This year, they allowed me a budget to go and get some new things for them, and I was really excited about doing that because it allowed me to be very creative and let my creativity really flow based upon their budget. But that way, I can go pick out everything that I think would kind of work in their space and really make their tree be a wow factor. And it's amazing. I like to do that. So I pretty much try to tie in from that, leading from what they have and trying to bring my concepts in. It takes a little bit of time, and some people may be a new client. They want you to just
Hmm.
come in there and just just do everything totally new. So for the most part, you have to know how to gauge it and move around and kind of make that make sense. So that's like, for instance, bringing in nice trees, creating some nice wreaths for their front door, some wonderful garlands for their fireplaces, bringing in some things that really make it pop for the holidays, some wonderful ornaments, especially some wonderful ornaments that make sense, that really be like, okay, these ornaments make a big, bold statement. You can dummy it down by using a few other little things, elements, nice pieces of ribbon, but knowing how to use all these things to make it make sense. And so as you work with these clients, you kind of get the idea and the concept of
Hmm.
what they like and what they expect and what they look forward to you doing for them. So you kind of gauge along the way. And I like them to be all unique. I don't like to do a carbon copy of what somebody else done. I like to take a
Hmm.
whole new concept and give it a fresh set of eyes and a new creative way of making a space totally amazing.
Mm, that sounds good. And I also know after it's all done, everybody appreciates the work that you have created for them.
It's funny. I like this because I have my clients. I thank God for them. They go above and beyond to make sure that I'm happy and I'm content. I have this one client in particular. I go to a house and she lay out the red carpet. She have like hors d'oeuvres for me. She have drinks for whoever helping me assist in the decor together. And she just have this big, long, wonderful table. And she spread it out with all kind of different things that she think I may like. Like
Hmm.
different types of pound cake. She have like pies. She have like salad, and the stuff is just so remarkably amazing. And it's so good. It's like, okay, you go above and beyond every single year. And it's like an experience when I go there. So what I do now is I try to make sure when I schedule her that I have that whole day and no one else at the same day, because it's an experience with her at her domicile. I really enjoy it. And she has a residential space, of course, but now she's working on getting some corporate stuff done for a business she's opened up. And I'm excited about that because it's such an experience, and she's just a classy lady, a classy, refined woman. And I just love to go and take care of her. And I love all my clients and really taking care of them. But, when they go above and beyond like that, I really enjoy that. So that's something that's special to my heart.
Well, since you have mentioned that anyway, what is the size of your team that helps you create this wonderful wonderland for Christmas?
Oh, Michael, it depends on the project and how big the project is. It can go
Okay.
from just me, myself, or just me and another person, or I can go a team of 10 people. It all depends on how big the project is. So you can initially do interior, which is the inside of someone's home, or you could do interior and exterior. So it depends on the project and the time frame you have to get this all executed. So that makes a difference of how many people are actually needed to execute, you know, the whatever the client may need for their home, whatever. So that entails of how many people I'm going to initially bring in and what do I need. So I kind of do an assessment and kind of figure out what I'm gonna need and what I'm not going to need. And that's how I kind of pretty much gauge it.
Okay. Well,
And
that makes
again, that
sense.
goes back to referencing like when you do your design consultation,
Hmm.
and when I do that, I let them know what it's going to be to do a complete installation, you know, and I also talk about, throughout the year, things happen. Like, for instance, you may have to re up on your lights. So I try to be very proactive on maintenance. So that's something that I may not have to be there, but a team member of Flower Boy A production can go there and do that part for me as well, right there, making sure that everything is working accordingly like it should and be in tip top shape and timely takedown. So that could be another thing too, because whoever may come and help me decorate may not be a part of the team to come and help me do takedowns and wrap everything up and put everything in tip top shape like it was and how it should be placed for the next year. And you get a lot of that doing when you do commercial design.
Okay. Well, since you mentioned commercial design, so I realized the concept for residential and commercial about the same for planning. But what type of stuff do you end up going through on a commercial level that's different from a residential overall?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I level of service and create that level of hospitality. You know, making the environment welcoming. That's important because again, you have people coming into this commercial space and they're gonna look at this. You know, you gotta think they're gonna be taking like selfies. They're gonna have a photo op moment. So you want to put your best foot forward. You know, you want to give that professional decor like no other. You know, you want to create that fantasy holiday look for that space, whatever. So it's a little bit more work that goes into it. It's gonna be a little more time consuming, but you definitely want to bring the display of that installation to a level of a wow factor that's unforgettable. That's to me, that's what you have to do in a commercial space. So, give you an example. If you have a commercial space and the budget's not that gigantic, you'll take one concept and you'll just try to blow it out the park. You know, don't try to use a lot of different things. Whatever you want to take, whatever it is. Like say, for instance, we're just using red, for instance, and we're gonna say we're gonna just use red bulbs. We're gonna use red apples. I'm gonna use tons and tons and tons and tons of red balls and tons of red apples to make it a wow factor. I'm gonna do it at
Mhm.
space and make it look different when you walk in there and give you the wow factor because I know it's a commercial space and I know that people are going to be coming here taking, pictures and photo op show. You want to give it your all. Not that you don't do it for all the other clients, but in the commercial
Mhm.
spaces, it's a lot different. And then again, you want to make sure when you do this, you do this with decency and integrity because the fact of the matter is you don't want nothing to shift. You want everything to kind of stay in place because it's commercial. People are going to be touching stuff. You know, you got kids, you got adults, and people want to see, I like this. I like this shiny ornament. You know, let me see what this
Mhm.
all about. So it's more time consuming.
Okay. Well, since you did say that, what type of lights that you prefer when displaying this type for commercial level? Or that mostly just depends on the project itself at that location.
The project itself at the location, but I'm gonna tell you right now,
Okay.
my my to go to is I like LED lighting.
Hmm.
LED lighting give out the best lighting, and it just makes a big difference. But again, you have different types of lighting that people may want to use, but my to go to is, and I will reference you to LED lighting. It just gives you just what you need.
So it's like much brighter than traditional lighting that's was available in the past. I'm just curious.
That's true. It makes it is very very bright,
Hmm.
and it brings you that wow factor you're looking for. It's almost like you're using like event lighting.
Oh, okay. Now I can picture that. Yeah, I see why you recommend LED lighting. Tell me about how you got started in the decorating business.
Well, let's see, Michael. It goes a very, very long. I got started in the decorating industry by doing home interior design.
Hmm.
After getting engaged in home interior design, people would ask me to do like little small little gatherings because I would do stuff at the house when I was growing up. And so I was like, well, I'm not no event planner. I'm not a designer. I just enjoy do what I do. But however, let me
Hmm.
tell you something. One thing led to another, and one opportunity opened up another door for another opportunity to fall in my lap, and one thing after another. And so I just thank God gracefully for it because it's just something that just kind of just started happening. It just started shifting in the atmosphere. So me decorating houses, got into doing like little small event planners, little setups, whatever thing, and then get into floral. And it's just one thing after another started just shifting. And I just felt like if that's what I'm going to do in my life and in my career, I want to be really good and I really want to excel at what I do.
Hmm.
So I realized I had to position myself and put my best foot forward by going to different seminars, going to different classes, and learning skills and also learning technique. Just not to do it and say I do it as a hobby, but do it as a career and
Hmm.
making it make sense by giving it your all. So of course it takes a lot of strategizing, studying, researching, and getting in tune to know how to not just do it, but deliver it and make
Hmm.
sure you do it and then make an impact and it's satisfying the client, to the client and also to the eyes of people that looks at what you're putting together. So it took some time for me to get to that level, to get to be able to be satisfied with self and also satisfying clients and make them thrilled about it. Because you have your family, you'd be like, oh, that looks good, but
Hmm.
okay, my family's gonna tell me something because they want me to make it feel good, but I really wanted the truth of it. So I really started getting involved by moving around, traveling, getting involved in all kind of things when it came down to design. And Christmas, I've always adored because the fact of the matter is that you got so many different styles, you got so many different techniques of Christmas. It's crazy, and you have full autonomy over, what you can do with it. And so you get an idea and you get a concept and you be like, well, you know what? That's my concept. That's my idea. Your friend may have an
Hmm.
idea, may have a concept, and you run with that. So it basically goes to who you are as an individual. What do you like? And what makes you feel good when you see Christmas? It could be an array of different things. So it depends on your personality and who you are as an individual to kind of gauge Christmas and the holiday. I like traditional holiday. I like modern holiday. I like it all. So with that being said, I learned to how to get evolved and how to place myself in every position to be able to do what it takes to get it done on every account.
Okay, that is really interesting. Now, one thing I was thinking about when I heard you speaking, since I know you deal with flowers on a regular, do you incorporate some of your floral arrangements with the Christmas decorations along with what you offer?
Michael, you got to know that. What they call me, flower boy A. That is important.
Yes.
I'm going to always incorporate florals in everything I do. That's imperative. But it's funny. I'm glad you asked for that because it's the way I do it. You could use permanent botanicals, which are silk flowers,
Mhm.
and depending on the client and depending on the budget, I like to do trees with fresh flowers as well. And it's a way, and
Oh,
it's a concept that I have to do that. Now, one day we'll talk about that. We'll run it down, but it's a process. But for that client that have that discretionary funding budget, um, you could really do some really great things and really make it a wow factor and really make it something that's unique. But it also creates a very nice, strong presence. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It creates a wonderful presence.
well, that makes sense. And since you did say that as well, that will also set you apart from the other people who are doing Christmas decorations because you could bring in a twofold by bringing in your floral arrangements and make it be a part of one project, correct?
That's correct. Okay, so Michael, I want to hit the subject and talk about different types of Christmas lighting. You have plug-in lighting,
Hmm.
battery-powered lighting, solar-powered lighting. My favorite, LED lighting, miniature lighting, the C6 lighting. That's what the big bulbs. A lot of people have used that for a very long time. Those big old bulbs. You got the C7 as well. You got the C9 bulbs, 5 milliliters LED lights, and it goes on and on. The list goes on. Different types of lighting. And you also have the cool and the warm lighting too that creates a different texture. So it depends on you and what you want to go for in your style. And of course, you got different color palettes of lighting. You got your traditional white lights, you got your red lights, you got your multicolor lights, you got green lights, you name it, it's there. Depends on your style, your color, your concept that you want to go with. You could be very, very creative with lighting. And I love that because it creates a nice factor when you look at it. Like that's the part that really draws you to a tree is the lighting. And then You walk up and you start seeing all the magnificent decor, and that really just sets a tone.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't realize they had that much to choose from when it comes to lighting for decorating for Christmas time. I found that really interesting.
Yeah. So, Michael, what are you going to do
Yes.
this year for your Christmas tree? You got a certain color palette you're going to go with for your tree?
Well, what I typically like, I like white lights. I do like color
Okay.
lights, but I think the white lights just brings its own appeal on the tree. And I typically also like to
Okay.
put some candy canes because I just like the look of candy canes.
I like that.
And then it could be like some traditional ornaments that you might have had while growing up, or I say maybe just green, gold, or it just depends. But typically, I would say I
Gotcha.
mostly like doing like the white lights, some candy canes on the tree, and then I also like the different ornaments of choices. That's typical what I like to see. And also, I like different wreaths, like a wreath on the door, the garland like along the fireplace, and it always bring in the Christmas season when you smell fresh pine.
Hmm. Nothing like that wonderful, significant pine scent. It's something
Correct.
that it creates traffic because it smells so good. It will alarm you to it. And you know the thing when you decorate a house and decorate residential places and commercial spaces for the holiday, think about how it impact your family. Think about how it may impact your friends and everybody
Hmm.
associated when they start seeing these wonderful things displayed. It makes such a difference. And that's what we consider at Flowboy Production when we are working with people and we're putting things together for them. I take in considerations that I want to make it a stress-free environment for you, make it a seamless environment for you because your experience should be an unforgettable experience when you're dealing with Flawboy. We want to create something that's going to create essence for you, that's going to create a wonderful holiday experience on every account and make you amazed at what you see, the finished product. That's important, and whether
Hmm.
you are business, a client, residential, I want to create some traffic when people look at this and be like, wow, this is really executed and this is well done. But not about me, it's about you as a person, as a client, and making sure that we come into the game tight and make sure that we are dependable and professional on all levels. I mean, that's what I like to bring to the table when executing things for people on that level during the holiday time. That's important to me and my team.
Okay. Um, well, since you also mentioned your team and some of your clients, so about typically when it comes to your clients, about how many you have worked with, like overall or currently right now?
Oh my God, the list goes on, cousin. And I tell you, it's a lot because it's like you meet people and they see you and they be like, I saw you do so and so tree, whatever. So it grows, it grows. I may have like, first I used to have like about 5 or 6 clients that I would do because I was still, well, let's rewind it for a second. First of all, I
Okay.
freelance. I freelanced when I first moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and I worked every country club there is in Atlanta, Georgia. You name it. I went in there and touched and the trees, the decoration, outdoor, indoor, with a company I worked with. And I still had my little clients, my little 6 clients. And then when I decided to part ways with that company, I said, well, I could do my own thing because I'm there executing all the stuff for them. So
Hmm.
I came out of the freelance range for holiday decorating for other people. I said, well, let me get into this myself full time. And it just took off. It got enormous because you started doing like, of course, residential and then
Yes.
commercial, what I mean, and then retail spaces. And it just keep going and keep going and growing. And people hear about you and I'm going to get to you next year. And it goes. So from 6 to 9 up to like right now, I think I'm up to like about 30 houses I got to do this year so far. And it's
Oh
just
wow.
constantly growing day by day. Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot of houses. And one way, since you did say that's a
Yeah.
lot of houses, I'm noticing is that means you also have to know how to schedule each individual client a separate way, correct?
I have to know how to schedule them accordingly and work around everything that was going around me. It's funny because I was with a client today and she was like, are you gonna do any weddings for Christmas? I say, absolutely not. Absolutely not. One wedding because I couldn't factor it in. It couldn't even happen. You're just moving around. You know,
Hmm.
um, going not just in Atlanta. I go to New York and do things. New Orleans, Chicago. I'm gonna fly me out. I think the 8th of December of this year to go to Texas and do stuff. So it all depends on what they want and how they want it to be actually done. So they can contact me, and then we'll get together and we'll make some kind of arrangements and make this thing actually happen.
That sounds really good as well. And it's also good that one of your clients are willing to fly you to their destination or you can do your specialty for them overall. That's really good.
Well, for the most part, I don't think it's about the specialty part of it. I think it's about the idea, the experience that I bring with it. That's important. Bringing out that elegant holiday tradition in every account. That's important. But I think overall, it's about the experience, a unique experience that's unforgettable. And I try to push that and really, that's my calling card.
And that's a good calling card. What should someone consider before hiring a decorator?
A lot of things. Again, a lot of things you can consider. Consider finding a professional in your area. Consider your budget. Also consider the fact of the matter is that your color palette, your color story. Find out if you want them to start from fresh with a new concept, a new design, a new overall theme look. It's to your discretion. So start there. Start taking notes. Jot things down and kind of figure out what you want to take place and how you want this to be executed for your space. Once you do that, find a local professional. Contact them. See about them coming out and doing a walkthrough, to see what's going on. Get a design consultation and figure out what will work best for you based upon your budget and the concept of what you want in your design and what you looking to happen for your space forever. So start looking around, but importantly, try to find out your color palette, your color story, concept, budget, and the style you want. So when you contact this individual, they can kind of know how to pinpoint things out for you and tell you exactly specifically what you're going to get, your expectation level, their expectation level. And then once you get that done, you are typically on your way to success, nothing but success and having a wonderful traditional holiday.
Hmm, that's really interesting. And that's a lot to consider right away when you're planning. But that's the right approach that you should always take, correct?
For the most part, yeah, that's the only way to really approach it to kind of figure out what you're doing and what you're getting at all accounts, because that way there won't be any hidden surprises.
Yes.
And that way you get the best out of that person. You get the benefit of knowing that they're bringing out true professionalism. They're bringing out talent. They're bringing out something that's going to make you stand out for the holiday.
Yes. I totally agree with that.
And on top of that, when you get a professional, you avoid spending time in the cold weather. You eliminate all the physical risks of trying to get on the roof and on the ladders. Take that in consideration too. When you're doing professionals, they have so many things they have to do. You don't have to get on that ladder. Let them be on the ladder. You don't have to get on that roof. They're going to take care of that for you. So that's
Hmm.
things you could take away the stress by dealing with outsourcing a professional in the industry.
That's true. I can agree with that because sometimes it can get a little hectic if you're not sure what you're really doing at the moment. What motivates you to create the vision and bring it to life?
What motivates me to create the vision and bring it to life? It depends on that consultation, the design consultation. Because again, when you're doing things uniquely for an individual, you have to kind of look at not what you want, but what they want and how
Hmm.
to not just deliver, but over deliver. So creating something that will make them happy. Keep it simple and easy, figure out what spark their attention. What really get them like amped up to be like, oh, I got to have this. And
Hmm.
then you think about that. You strategize. You and your team get there and you strategize. And then you come back and you execute that.
Hmm.
That's give me joy. That makes it a joyous occasion, That pulls out all the stocks and the designer in you. When you go and do that install and be like, oh wow, this turned out even better than I'd imagined, for both of you guys. That's important. So for me personally, I like to make sure that when I'm doing something that I'm completely highly trained and the staff is highly trained to deliver a very comprehensive solution and also create something that's going to be unique in a decorating industry that makes it a wonderful installation for them and make them happy once I'm completed my task
That makes sense,
within
and I
a
can
budget,
agree.
within a budget and within a goals. I'm good.
Yes. Oh no, I totally agree. A budget is really key because you really have to know
Oh, that's
what you really
important.
want. You have to because it's going to give you an idea of how far you can go and what to really focus on the most. Correct?
Correct. That is
Well, since
so true.
well since you did say about the budget and I have heard you mention that before, do you have some clients who have a particular budget but not really sure what it would take to make the atmosphere come to life that they envision?
A lot of people uncertain have uncertainty of like what it takes to really put it off. That's the point of having a design consultation because once you do that, you can kind of give them a vision. You can give them design. I like to do like design A, design B, and design C, and
Hmm.
kind of give them the idea of like what to expect. This is design A. This is design A's price point. This is design B. This is design B's price point. This is design C. This is design C's price point. So that way they can kind of gauge of what they're going to be getting.
Hmm.
They can know based upon their budget. And that way you can kind of facilitate and kind of figure out exactly what's going to work best for that particular project, whether
Hmm.
it's residential or commercial. So it kind of depends on the individual, and figuring and factoring out what's affordable, what's out there reach. You kind of gauge that because you'll know exactly what you need to do in your design meeting and what you need to bring to the table. And, that's important to bring in those elements and then connect with them to make sure that, again, you want to bring magic into the experience. That's important. You want to, whatever you're doing, you want to bring magic into the experience, make it a magical moment for them. So that's important to me when curating something for someone and a client.
Well, I can agree with that. When everybody understands what's going on, it makes everything run smoothly through the process.
A seamless experience.
Yes,
And
that's
again,
very
you
true.
got to factor, it factors, if you're doing a private exquisite home or you're doing a condominium, apartment residence, a hotel, hospital, corporate office, public spaces. You're doing indoor, you're doing outdoor. It all depends on what are you working on? What is it for? That makes the difference in how you actually putting this thing all together.
Yes, I can agree with that. Well, we have game down to the end of this interview. I basically want to say, Alex, I enjoy interviewing to you today on Consulting Between Friends podcast.
And Michael, I'm glad I was here. I enjoyed the special moment. I hope for the listeners out there, I hope I've inspired you and sent out some inspiring messages for you guys and some inspiring contact about the holiday decorating and this holiday season. Figured out what you're going to do. After this podcast is done, pull out a piece of paper, jot some things down, figure out your color story and your color palette. And in lieu of saying that, get a theme, take it and run with it. Again, it was a wonderful experience, Michael, and I'm going to wish you and your team a wonderful holiday this year. It's amazing. Do some great things for 2022 going into 2023. A joyous occasion.
Yes, that's definitely true. And I also wish you a joyful season as well for this holiday season with your team as well.
Thank you, and we greatly appreciate you.
You're welcome. And before we go, now can you tell me some information that my listeners can follow you by?
Perfect. On Instagram, you can follow me at flowerboy_a. My website is flowerboya.com. You can reach us at 404-980-6744. Again, 404-6744. And our email, info@flowerboya.com. Thank you. I look forward to hearing from you all. If you have any questions, you can DM me at Instagram, or you can send me a text to that number at 404-980-6744, or send me an email at info@flowerboya.com. We look forward to hearing from you guys. And again, have a wonderful holiday season.
Thank you, and you as well. Once again, Alex Holmes, thank you for being a guest on Consulting Between Friends podcast, and I wish you a happy holiday season to next year.
Blessings.
After a short break, we will return. We are back. In closing, I hope the information shared about Christmas decorating was valuable to everyone. Alex of Flower Boy A Production has given the listeners an eyesight to the world of decorating for the Christmas season. Alex has given different examples of decorating that everyone can relate to. From coming up with an idea and how to execute it to the next level. I am glad I had the opportunity to interview Alex and learn more about his passion for decorating overall. One last thing. Remember to support local businesses and continue to think positive, and your creativity will come to life. Thank you for listening to Consulting Between Friends. This podcast is available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts, as well other platforms that are available. So like and subscribe. Need to contact us and leave us a comment? You can find us on Instagram at Consulting the letter B Friends. Once again, Consulting B Friends. An email address is consulting the letter B friends @gmail.com. Once again, consulting B friends @gmail.com. Consulting Between Friends now has a merch online store called Podcast Merch Headquarters. This is where you can buy merch to show your support for the podcast. Some items to choose from are t-shirts, tumblers, and hoodies, as well many other things I know you will appreciate. So take the time to review the items in the store. The link will be available in the podcast notes under Podcast Merch Headquarters. Consulting between friends appreciates the constant support. It means a lot. If you would like to support the podcast more, you can find me on Patreon at Consulting Be Friends. Once again, at Consulting Be Friends. The link will be in the description. Consulting Between Friends now has a way for listeners to share their feedback about the podcast. The listeners can now share their feedback on Discord. The link will be available in the podcast notes and on the podcast website. Thanks again for the support. If you have an extra minute, it would be greatly appreciated if you could answer a few questions regarding the quality of the podcast. The link will be in the description. Consulting Between Friends. Thanks to everyone for making this possible. The host, Michael Holmes Jr., the producer and content creator, Michael Holmes Jr., the artwork cover, Michael Holmes Jr., original music, a DJ name / special guest, Alex Holmes, CEO and creative director of Flower Boy A Production. Content distributor, My Producer Podcasts. Merry Christmas to everyone from your host, Michael Holmes Jr. of Consulting Between Friends Podcast.